hey, now we're 60% done. And then on day 3, we're at 90% done. And for the rest of the 2 weeks, it just stays at 90% done. And at the end of the sprint, we're still not done. So if you break down your tasks into 4-hour chunks, this lets us plan and track work so much better. And finally, never start from a date, right? Because developers, we're pleasers. We want to make people happy. So if you start from a date, we're going to magically subdivide the work up so they'll fit in the allotted time. Even though this doesn't work and is not accurate, it's kind of what we do. So don't start from a date. Work out the task, break it down into 4-hour chunks, and then see where the end date lands. Finally, the rules apply to everyone. In order for Agile to work, everyone in the organization must be hyper-focused and aligned. So remember, the whole point of us moving away from Waterfall to Agile is we finally admitted that Waterfall does not work well for software projects. In fact, 90% of Waterfall software projects flat out fail. And by fail, I mean they go over budget, over time, too many bugs, or the end result is not what the end users want. So we know the old metrics and the way of doing things is garbage. We must all be aligned now with how things are done and measured in an Agile world. Everyone, from the very, very top all the way down to the bottom. And no one is exempt from the rules, no matter what their title is. Okay, so Tailwind traders, they get Agile. They get Scrum. But to do Scrum right, they need tools that will help them track their work from sprint to sprint to sprint. They need to be able to easily reprioritize work on the backlog, as well as track their work both within a sprint and across sprints. And all of this needs to be easily accessible by everyone, because remember, no one is working in a vacuum, right? The product backlog, the sprint backlog, the current product plan, those need to be publicly available. And guess what? Azure Boards, linked to my GitHub repo, does a great job of this. So let's check this out. In the world of Agile or Scrum, everything starts from the backlog. So here's my backlog, and as you can see, it's an ordered list of everything that I want my software to do. Adding new work, I can just click the new work button, I can give it a title, add to the top, and there it is. Now, if I click on this particular work item, it opens up a form and I can give more details. So I can give things like descriptions, acceptance criteria, etc., etc. Now, if I want to prioritize my backlog, that's as simple as just dragging and dropping on this board. Now, the other thing people use the backlog for is they choose the work from the backlog and say, this is what I want to do for a particular sprint. So they create a sprint backlog. In creating, that's easy enough. I can just go ahead and multi-select, and then I can just drag it and drop it to the sprint that I want. And if I click on the sprint, it will take me to my sprint backlog. Now, my sprint backlog behaves exactly the way I expect it should. You can now prioritize work by dragging and dropping. I can add new work as well. And the other thing it can do is I can break down my work into the individual tasks that I need to complete this item. So again, tasks, remember, they should be 4-hour chunks, right? So for this particular work item, let's say I need to update my database schema over here. And I also, let's break this down a little bit more. Let's say I need to update my API layer. Awesome. So pretty cool, right? Now I have my work item. I've broken it down into 2 individual tasks. I love backlogs, both the product backlog and this sprint backlog. They're great at adding and prioritizing work and doing breakdowns. But where they start falling down is tracking work as it's happening. Now I want to be able to track my work as it happens, and I want to be able to do this visually, both within my sprint and across sprints. And you can totally do this with Azure Boards. So the first thing that we're going to check out is the task board. So here it is. Here you can track what your team is doing within a sprint in a visual manner. You can drag it and drop it, and you can see what's going on. Super, super cool. Now, if we zoom back out a little bit, we can see at a higher level what my team is doing from the Kanban board. So this is a fully customizable Kanban board that shows the ongoing state of my project. And I really love this board because now in one place, I can easily see what's going on in my project. I can also see when a work gets stalled in a particular column, and when I notice that, I can now redirect my team. We can swarm on that particular unit of work. There's also deep integration between the work items created in Azure Boards and also with GitHub.